Hey guys, welcome back to NEMT Van Talks. I'm Jasmine.
And I'm Monica.
You know we got y'all.
As always.
We recently did a webinar with MediRoutes. Yes, MediRoutes. MediRoutes is a nationally known NEMT scheduling software that has helped so many NEMT businesses move forward in growing their businesses. So,
if you missed the live webinar, that's okay, because we got you. But you should have been there. If you wasn't, don't miss it again. Don't miss the next one. Okay?
check out the video, you guys. We're going to go ahead and post it. Stay tuned.
Yay.
All right, you guys. So, we are going to start off just by introducing ourselves and letting you know exactly who we are, right? So my name is Jasmine.
And I'm Monica.
And we are the owners of a non-emergency medical transportation company based in Los Angeles, California. The name of our company is MJ Reliable Transportation. So many of you may have found us from our social media platforms like Instagram, TikTok. I know we post some really funny videos there, or also YouTube. That's a really big platform for us. So since being in business for a little over 4 years, we have found that we have been through the ups, we have been through the downs, and we really wanted to share our experience of being in the NEMT industry. And so we created a YouTube channel to share with you guys our knowledge, our resources, and we even provide you guys with tips on starting your NEMT transportation company. However, we get a lot of questions about scheduling platform.
Yes.
That seems to be the number one question. And so, you know, we're always looking out for you guys. So we contacted MediRoutes to see if they would provide our audience with a live demo of their scheduling platform. So we're super excited for this opportunity. Now, MediRoutes is a nationally known software solution that offers transportation providers optimal scheduling, booking, dispatching, and billing services. And today, we are excited to be speaking with the COO of MediRoutes, and that is David Rinkensmeyer. David, are you there?
Hey, Jasmine, I'm right here. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely, David. So again, thank you just for taking the opportunity to be here with us today. We're so eager and excited to hear what you're going to share with us, which we know you're going to share tons of knowledge. And so we're honored and we're eager to be here. So thank you so much for taking the opportunity to do this for us today.
That's our pleasure. Thanks for setting us up.
Absolutely. So, David, if you could tell us a little bit about MediRoutes' history.
Absolutely. Yeah, I just want to say hi, everyone, and good afternoon. Happy Friday. Can't believe we're already in June. But, yeah, so glad to be here with all you. And as you know, Jasmine mentioned, my name is David Rankensmeyer, and I'm the Chief Operating Officer of MediRoutes. And I'm joining you all from the sunny Phoenix, Arizona area. And yeah, first up, I really just want to say special thanks to Jasmine and Monica from MJ Reliable for hosting the webinar, and more importantly, just for bringing authentic, helpful NEMT content to all of us on a regular basis. We feel really fortunate to have been invited and here today to be featured on their channel. And I know you all that are, you know, listening to this are getting a lot out of their channel and their content. So. And just as a housekeeping note, I know we're really looking forward to answering questions. So I can't see the chat while I'm presenting, but I know a lot of my team members can. And I know Jasmine and Monica will hop in and you know, bring those questions in. So please use the chat. We'll be taking notes and we can cover those throughout the presentation. Just want to make sure we're making the most of all your time. Yeah, so by way of background, some of you may have heard of MediRoutes. Possibly some of you might already be using our software, or maybe you have in the past. For those of you who may be unfamiliar with MediRoutes, maybe it's been a few years since you've talked to one of our team members, I'd be happy to go through some background. So let me first switch this to this page. So this is kind of our fun numbers page, but I'll talk a little bit about how we got started with the human beings, because those are always more important than the data points. So MediRoutes started in 2008 by a man named Steve Smith. And Steve Smith has been working on mapping and transportation software since the late 80s. He tells a fun story when the Census Bureau first came out with some of the GIS, like mapping data and all the latitude, longitude coordinates, and gave that to people on a computer floppy disk. He was one of the first people to take it and build maps with it, where you could zoom in and zoom out on a computer, and probably a much larger computer than the ones that we're all using today. Steve was also one of the founding members of Trapeze Software Company. They currently own TripSpark, so a lot of you might be familiar with them. He's no longer involved in that company, but just to give you an idea of how long he's been working in the industry. In 2008, he started MediRoutes with just one client and just himself as the only staff member. He spent the next several years building out the platform that you will all see today, which now, we got to update even this, which now services over 850 clients across the United States. Each of those clients are transportation providing companies. The platform is really built brick by brick through direct engagement with NEMT transportation providers. So we're not chasing, food delivery or, some other next shiny object or any other trends. We really are and always have been 100% dedicated to NEMT over the last 15 years, and we'll continue to do so. I ran a quick report in preparation for this demo, and we had over 7,000 NEMT drivers log into our mobile app yesterday to complete their work. So it's just kind of incredible to see how the industry's grown. I think when I got started with the company about 5 years ago, we had 2 to 3, maybe 4,000 drivers logging in every day. So that's just a testament to the work that all of you are doing and just the general trends we see in the industry. I'm going to switch my screen to not that one. Can you guys see, hopefully, the pictures on the screen here now of our team?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. So, yeah, this is Steve Smith. This is a ugly mug of me, and then several of our team members are below. So I encourage you to go to our website, go to the About Us, and kind of click through, and you can read about any of these folks on our team. I think it's really important to note that all of our training staff, as well as several other members of our team, they are former NEMT dispatchers, drivers, fleet owners, and operators. So they've all used MediRoutes in the past to run their own fleet or to work at a business just like yours. And so we're so lucky to have them on our team. So they provide a lot of real world NEMT insights every day for us as we continue to enhance our product and serve the community. As you can see from the infographic, MediRoutes is really a combination of scheduling, routing, and dispatching, along with all the pieces that you would need to help you get paid in a timely manner for the work that you're doing. So that's everything from integrations, scheduling, electronic billing, driver mobile. Spend a ton of time on this, but we all know that one of the biggest challenges with NEMT transportation companies is that you have to serve a lot of different payers and brokers, right? And so this can lead to a major headache when it comes to things like, where are my trips coming from? The trip intake comes from 10 different portals. Are the credentialing requirements the same for each of these different people that I'm getting paid from? How do I bill each of them? Some of them wanted an invoice. Some of them wanted a flat file. Some of them want, the signatures. What types of reporting? How do I get reporting across all the different business I'm doing in one consolidated place? How do I invoice these people, right? As well as just collecting all the requisite trip data that these different contracts require. So we understand, being in the industry for 15 years, being built by you types of people, right? Actual NEMT providers. We understand that each of these brokers, each of these payers have different rate structures. They have different contractual rules regarding, how your on-time performance is measured, or what signatures are required from the driver or the passenger. Maybe you have to scan a barcode of an ID card. We understand that the credentials for drivers and vehicles can change. So our system's been built from the ground up to solve this problem. So the integrations that we have with these brokers and other third-party, billing companies, these automate these arduous tasks that you may have, had to do in the past. Things like trip entry, things like billing attestation, even trip changes, right? Those trips that, that you put a file in yesterday, they made some updates to it today, and you're constantly re-uploading these files. These integrations can help automate all that and take some of that, task work away. And so on your screen, you're seeing logos of some of the larger integration partners we've worked with directly to simplify this data exchange, and specifically for transportation providers, trying to make it easier for y'all. The next piece here is really just talking about, what is the MediRoutes platform itself. So how do users interact with MediRoutes and the data? So this shows 3 different views that your users will access MediRoutes data from. So on the left side of the screen, we have our kind of flagship powerhouse desktop application that's primarily used by system administrators, dispatchers, reporting power users, anybody that's doing a lot of setup or contract, broker creation, driver and vehicle management. All that can be done in the MediRoutes desktop app. Again, there's 15 years worth of code in there, so it's the depth of it is pretty incredible, and it's all specifically for NEMT. We're not working on paratransit. We're not working on other industries. People use it for cabs. People use it for pharmacy delivery, but it's really geared specifically towards NEMT. The other tool you'll see on the bottom right is the MediRoutes Online tool. It provides much of the same functionality as the desktop app, but you can access it directly from your smartphone or your tablet. So this allows you to dispatch and schedule your trips on the go, right? So this can be especially helpful for those smaller or maybe growing fleets. And maybe if you're an owner operator, you might still need to grab a set of keys and drive if somebody calls out sick, or if somebody's vehicle goes down, or if it's just a busy day. And so with the MediRoutes Online tool, you're not locked to a computer screen, and you don't have to carry your laptop around as the primary dispatcher anymore. You can be out at lunch driving for yourself while managing your fleet directly from your mobile app, your tablet, and of course you can still use it on your computer. This is really where we're heading with all of our future development, so that you have that at your fingertips wherever you are. It also, that MediRoutes Online app also allows you to set up simple roles and permissions for call center staff or for facilities. So maybe if you have a contract and you want to give people their own access to MediRoutes where they can type in their own trips for you, or maybe they can use a Where's My Ride lookup that you kind of see here on the middle screen with the map and the passenger name. We'll go into that a little later. They can see all that directly in the online app, and you can restrict their access. Last but not least, in the upper right-hand corner, we have MediRoutes mobile app for both iOS and Android. This is, as I mentioned earlier, used by over 7,000 drivers on a typical workday. And we're going to dig a little further into each of these apps. So what you're seeing on your screen now is part of our desktop app. This is a data grid of all the trips that you have today. Let's say there's 30 or 40 in here, and you can select them all just at once, right? Because as we discussed before, one of the fundamental challenges with running an NEMT transportation company is scheduling trips from various payers with different rules across your different vehicles, and those vehicles might have different sizes of seats and configurations available. You might have different drivers, obviously, who are starting their day at different times. Maybe they're in different garages where their vehicles are parked, right? So this can be a real headache if you're trying to schedule using Excel or dragging and dropping each trip. It's just not scalable. But our scheduling algorithm will automatically schedule a collection of trips to the appropriate vehicles and drivers. And so right here, we kind of selected all the trips, right? And the next step, if I may, would bring you into where it would ask you, oh, great, do you want to schedule these in batch, right? And so we just scheduled, 36 trips across, what is that, just about 10 different vehicles here in about 2 seconds. And it's going to tell you how many miles each of those routes or runs or vehicles will take, how many trips are on each of those vehicles. And so this can just help, what was honestly a very arduous, tedious task to manually schedule each trip is kind of a thing of the past. Once all these trips are scheduled, obviously you have intraday dispatching. For the sake of time, we're not going to go into a ton of depth on that, but as you saw, you could do that from our desktop app or our mobile app, our web app. But fundamentally, all those trips eventually end up on your driver mobile app, right? So each of your drivers gets their own set of logins. They'll log in and they can use a smartphone or a tablet. This works for iOS and Android. And we are on our 5th major version of the mobile app, so our 5th complete rebuild. You'll laugh to hear that the first version of this was on a Nokia flip phone, and the second version of it was Windows Mobile. So that's kind of how far we've come. Obviously, both of those are dead in the dust technologies, but we've now written our 5th major version of this mobile app. And frankly, we're coming up on a redesign, which we'll be working on shortly. But point is, this thing's rock solid. It's very steady. You can read our reviews on the app stores if you'd like. And 7,000 drivers are using this every day to perform in the ballpark of 50,000, 60,000, sometimes a little higher trips every day across the country. So we're very excited about the stability of our mobile app, and we think really sets us apart from some of the other kind of pop-up companies that have been in the industry for 2 or 3 years. This is very hard to code well. As you could imagine, iOS and Android are constantly trying to protect the users. And so things like app permissions, background services, GPS, all that is getting harder and harder to maintain a real-time connectivity. We think we have one of the best solutions in the industry for this. Let's see, I'm gonna keep going here.
And I just wanted to hop in, David, just to let our audience know, if you guys have any questions about anything that he is covering, please don't wait to the end to ask your question. Drop it in the chat now, because sometimes we do forget. We're human. So I don't want you guys to forget what your question is. So if you have a question over anything that he has gone over so far, drop it in the chat and we will address it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I can't really see it. So yeah, Jasmine, Nicole, if you guys could just jump in and let me know any questions, happy to address them.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much. Yeah, so what you're looking at now is a lot of movement on the screen, but the far left panel is showing you kind of a real simple dashboard of a driver that logs in, and this is what each of the trips look like. Each little card there is color coded for pickups and drop-offs, appointments and return trips. The second screen, which has this signature capture, is showing if you click on one of those trip cards, everything you can do with it. We know that the drivers, are on the road, and that they are fundamentally working with patients and passengers and wheelchair straps and telemetrics data and vehicle cameras. And so we have tried to make this app as simple as possible. Basically, you open it up and you click the top thing and you just continue on. Now there's all these other options if you need to cancel, or if you need to scan a barcode, or you can do a vehicle inspection. Some people are filling out forms for incidents, or if you get pulled over, or if there's an accident. But you can also do timekeeping on there, right? So the driver, it's really hard to manage a schedule for a driver if you don't know when they are going to stop and eat lunch, or if you don't know when they are logged in for the day. So all that's built into the MediRoutes mobile app. I could go on and on about features on this, but yeah, as they mentioned, we have questions you can ask, and then we also would be more than happy to do one-on-one demos with anybody that thinks this might be a good solution for them. And that's a really easy way to get back and forth on questions.
Hey, David. Wow.
Yes.
I think that was really humble of you to brush over some of this stuff, but I want to pause, because I think that it is phenomenal that that a driver can actually complete their vehicle inspections from the mobile app, right? Not only that, timekeeping, that is huge. That's big to me, because it just makes it so much easier as a business owner to keep track of all this stuff, especially when your drivers are always on the go. Some NEMT companies allow their drivers to take their vehicles home. So it is convenient for them to have that opportunity to actually clock in and out utilizing their mobile device. So I definitely want to point that out to you guys, because that is definitely a couple of the highlighted features that has me in awe right now.
Oh, thanks for bringing attention to that. Yeah, it's the timekeeping piece. I won't say that we're the best out there. There's companies dedicated specifically to timekeeping, but I think what's unique about ours is it's baked right into your app. The dispatchers can see it, the drivers can see it. You can set the schedules ahead of time. You can set breaks ahead of time. If you try to insert a break, it's going to acknowledge the fact that you can't do that if a passenger's on the vehicle, or you can't do that if your next pickup is too close to the last drop off. So I think it does really help. And then we'll get to this a little later, but our theory on your data is that it's your data. It's not our data. So it is accessible to you in a variety of forms through different reports you can pull, or you can even use our API. So it's if you want to hire an intern or somebody that has some programming knowledge, or if any of you have any programming knowledge, we've had clients pull their timekeeping records automatically out of MediRoutes for free using our API, and then store those in ADP, Workday, different HRIS tools, HR information system tools, so that way they can automate all of their driver payroll. So that's it's great to bring that up, and I didn't mean to breeze over it, so thanks for slowing me down. As for the inspections, similarly, what you're seeing on the screen here is just kind of a shot that you can build this just like a Google form, right? So we let you ask, do you want to ask a multi-choice question? Do you want to ask a fill-in-the-blank question? Do you want to ask a true or false question? It doesn't show it on here, but you can even have them take photos and upload those. So you could ask, take a picture of your odometer, take a picture of your tires, your treads, right? And then you can set on each of these inspections whether or not the answer would pass or fail. So in this, selection here, if somebody chose B or C, it's going to fail the inspection, allowing the dispatcher to say, hey, I got to get this vehicle off the road today. Let's get this in for a maintenance. A lot of clients are doing pre and post route inspections, and a lot of brokers are mandating this. And then we know that one of our clients in Minnesota has said that when they get pulled over, if a cop pulls over an NEMT driver, they love that they can actually show on the app, hey, here's an inspection I completed 2 hours ago that said that I didn't have a flat tire, even though I do now, or whatever safety risk may occur, a cracked windshield, etc., tail light out. So yeah, we really, once again, we've been doing this for so long, it's easy to brush over these things, but everything we build is with intention, because all of it comes from client feedback directly.
Hey, David, I have a question here in the chat before we move on. So can you elaborate a little bit more on timekeeping? The question is, does timekeeping mean a driver can clock in and out using this software?
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. So let me see if I can get this one to play again. It was kind of annoying me how quick it was going. So there you can see the menu item, dashboard, timekeeping, inspections, schedules, etc. So if you select timekeeping, at the very beginning, if you're offline, it's going to say begin shift. And if you have timekeeping turned on, it's kind of an optional thing. Over here on your schedule, before you could even pull out of the garage, the first little block is going to say begin shift, right? And so then once you do begin the shift, these are kind of illustrative mock-ups, it'll start to record that. Okay, they began their shift at 6:45. Then the only thing you can do is either end your shift or start a break. So maybe it's 12 o'clock, you're going to go on lunch, right? And it's going to record each of these events and also give that information in real time to the dispatcher when your break starts, when your break finishes, and then all that's available in reporting. So yeah, that's absolutely, it's built into the mobile app. It's free to use. And yeah, it works directly with your schedule.
Wonderful. And I see another comment here. Someone says that they're just starting out. They have a couple vehicles. Is this a good app for their company? So I just want to kind of chime in on that from our personal experience as being starting out owner operator. Absolutely. In order to scale your business, you have to have the software in order to kind of streamline some of the tasks that you have in front of you, right? So if you are driving your vehicles and you're you got dispatch and you're doing this and doing that, it's important for you to have a software that can route those trips for you, because Monica and I used to stay up nights and nights just trying to route our trips. It would consume so much of our time. So by us having a routing software, even with 2 or 3 vehicles, it made life so much easier. So if you are new to this industry, my response would be yes. You need to look into getting a scheduling software for your business, because the ultimate goal as a business owner is for us to scale our business to unimaginable amounts. So thank you. Just wanted to throw that in there.
Oh, it's excellent analysis. Yeah, I would just add, you kind of touched on it, but a lot of those pictures that we showed earlier of the different, I don't know if it's going to let me go back very fast here, but those different icons of these payers, and there's probably another 15 of them that we didn't put on here, more regional, smaller ones. Unfortunately, for better or worse, most of these people are being mandated by the federal government and the state government, right, which Medicaid, Medicare is a large proportion of the trip volume a lot of us do in NEMT. They're being mandated by the payers, the ultimate payers, to provide real-time data on where the passengers are and the on-time performance. And so, honestly, MediRoutes got started around the same time that Uber and Lyft did. And when, once people started using Uber and Lyft, I think they saw that and they said, this is incredible, right? And so when hospitals started to see that, when healthcare companies started to see that, when the federal and state government regulators started to see, wow, why is it that I can see my driver pulling up to the curb if I'm using this other app, but if I'm in, a certain industry like NEMT, I can't see any of that real-time data. Now they're starting to mandate a lot of that. So to even be eligible for growth, you're going to want to be compliant with the contractual requirements that a lot of these payers are mandating. And so that's where we find our tool. We were in the right place at the right time in a growing industry, and that's what we do best, is help you stay compliant, help you manage all the crazy pieces of paper and different phone calls and all that stuff. We'll get into that a little later, in one single screen, from your iPhone or your Android or your computer. So I'd say it's never too early to start using an app. And as you grow, first of all, I think it'll help you grow if you're using any software. There's several other competitors out there you can look into as well. And then if you do start to grow, I think you're really going to see the benefit of having it all under one roof in the long run. So we've kind of talked through, if we look through those slides, we talked about what are the different apps, who are the payers, how do these trips get in, right? How do I schedule and dispatch these trips? How do my drivers perform all these trips, right? And all that data is flowing in real time all the way back to the payer. So that person sitting in the Kaiser Permanente Hospital can see that you just picked up and dropped off John Smith. What happens though when you drive there and the passenger either isn't ready or they're not there at all, right? We know that this is a really big pain point. We can see it when we run aggregate data reports across the industry. In some places, it's as little as 15% of trips are canceled when you arrive there, either by the passenger or they're not even at the location, so it gets canceled by the driver. But in some areas, like we saw in southern Florida, for whatever reason, it was up to about 45% of trips were dry runs, as we call them, where you send a vehicle, you drive a bunch of miles, and you don't even get to charge, the full rate for the trip because the passenger either doesn't show up or they cancel when you get there, right? And so we have heard from clients over the years how frustrating this can be. So one of the features we've spent a lot of time focused on over the last several years is trip notifications. And so it's this idea that if you get ahead of it, if you either call the passenger with, you can call manually, but that's pretty painful. So we have robocalling, you can set a script up and it'll insert their name, it'll insert their appointment time, and it'll just call them ahead of time. And they can say, click 1 to confirm that you will be at the appointment tomorrow for ABC Transport, picking you up at 11 a.m. You can do that with phone calls. You can also do it with emails, and you can also do it with text messaging, right? And so this is pretty standard nowadays when we go order a pizza from Pizza Hut. We want to be able to track the pizza, and we want to be able to confirm or deny whether or not you're going to be at that reservation on Yelp, etc. So we have that same idea with our text messaging, where you can, ideally, you're going to reduce no-shows. You can reduce the cancel on arrival if you send these text messages an hour ahead, a day ahead, and let the passenger confirm that they will actually be taking the trip each time you notify them. And for us, we've tried around different payment options, but we found the most fair way is you just pay for what you use. So if you do 1,000 trips with us next month, but you only send 200 text messages, that's what you'll pay for. We're not going to charge you the texting on all 1,000, right? So you can kind of try it out with a subset of your trips and then expand from there. I want to touch on this a little bit more because it used to just be send a text, click yes to confirm, no to cancel. We now have a passenger-facing app, and they don't have to download anything. So you can send out our text messages with a little mini hyperlink, and it could say ABC Transportation is on the way to pick you up. Click this link to follow your driver, and it's literally just like Pizza Hut, right? So they click on it, and it'll tell them all this pertinent information. I mean, first of all, there's a map with the driver in real time moving on the map, showing where the driver's at. It can tell you what the ETA is for the driver. It's an event type of pickup. It's his next stop. It could say he has 3 stops until this next event. It'll tell you, when, whether they've arrived or not, what the ETA is, what the scheduled time was, and you as the transportation provider, you can customize this as much as you want. So you can add your logo, you can add your email and phone. And we recently rolled this out to where you can completely white label this. So you could even get rid of the MediRoutes logo up here. You could put your own logo, like MJ Reliable Transportation. Maybe Kaiser Permanente wants to pay you to put their logo. You could put their logo up here. You can change all these colors. Maybe you're not comfortable showing the driver's last name. You could take that off. You could take the photo off, right? So I won't go into this in too much detail, but it's really granular. And it works just like an Uber. A driver would, see, you get the text, you open it, it tells you the vehicle, make, model, color, license plate. You can turn all that on and off. And once again, you only pay for it when you use it. So we found this to be really helpful. One of our clients said they were able to get rid of a call center person who was just all day long getting hounded by phone calls from passengers asking, where's my ride? Where's my ride? Right? And you can give that tool in our online portal to the facility, but even still, sometimes the facility will call you or the facility will give the passenger info out. And so with a tool like this, you're really covering all your bases, giving everybody real-time information, totally transparent, and perhaps even bringing your own marketing into their face every day. So getting that continuity of your brand. We could talk a little bit about reporting, right? Because at the end of the day, let's say that you've gotten your trips in from your different payers. Maybe it was a flat file, maybe it was manual trip entry, or 60% of the time we're seeing it comes in through an API and integration, and you just open your app up and the trip shows up, right? So you got your trip in. We talked about that. All your rules are in there for that payer, whether they're dollars per mile, all the rate structures and fees, all that's in there, automatically calculating for you at the trip level. And then you routed, you scheduled, you dispatched those trips, right? Your drivers performed everything on their mobile. They did their inspections, they did their timekeeping, and you even notified your passengers ahead of time using notifications so that you cut down on all your no-shows, right? So at the end of the day, you're sitting there as a business owner and you want to run some reports. So we have a lot of reporting available. Like this page kind of gives you an idea of these. I think there's like 20 different reports here, and then each one of them has these sub-reports. So you can see by payer, how many trips did you perform, how many were canceled, what was the revenue, what was the revenue per mile, what was the revenue per loaded mile. You can break that down by what we call space type. Was it wheelchair, ambulatory, stretcher? Obviously, you can see the revenue is going to change based on those types. Maybe you have vehicle groups. Maybe you're working in different parts of the town, different states. You can break it down by groups and by vehicle and drivers and runs. So this is really good at the end of the day, end of the week, end of the month to run these types of reports. Before you even send a vehicle out, you can use this type of report. So if you ran that automated batch scheduling and it scheduled these different runs or routes, these are like each one of these is a driver and a vehicle and a route. And some of them only have one trip on them, right? And so you're only going to make $23 from run 2. And they're going to drive 16 miles, but 9 of those are going to be empty. They're only making $1.50 per mile. So you may decide, looking at a revenue estimator like this ahead of your day, gosh, well, my total revenue is not going to change. It's the same number of trips. But if I can take this van off the road by, rescheduling that trip to one of these other routes, maybe one of the trips will be 10 minutes late. Maybe somebody will have to be picked up a little early, but it might save me, a couple $100 by not sending my vehicle out that day or whatever it costs you. So there's several different graphs, revenue reports, and you can do this again by space type, funding source, vehicle group, etc. So yeah, we could spend all day on that, but it can show you what you've done in the past, and it can also prepare you for the day ahead, making sure you're not kind of sending any silly routes out. Let's keep rolling here. So this is one thing we kind of touched on this, but again, we believe, actually know for a fact, we were the first open API in NEMT, right? So we said, this is our client's data. We're technocrats. We love tech, right? And we know some of you want some things that we won't be able to build, right? You saw our team. We're not 1,000 people. We're a small team. So we focus on what we know you guys need, but some of you might need things we can't build right away. And so the beauty of it is, with our architecture and our open API, you can do whatever you want with it. So this might be automating data entry or retrieval. You might be custom reporting, right? Maybe you want to use Power BI or Tableau, or maybe you want to take all your old data and run it through one of these new cool AI models and figure out if there's any statistical significance. You can do that. Obviously, you can export reports of your data from our system, but you can also have a connection through API with us, which is pretty easy to use. Our programming team is available to help you with this, guide you along the way, and all of our documentation is online, available to anybody to see. And we've had clients build integrations with their HR tool. We've had them build integrations with, a special specific billing tool that they wanted to, that's like automating claims for them. We've had clients, fetch the timekeeping records. We've had clients automatically create all of their users through the API, so they didn't have to manually type all the emails in. And every broker in the industry is hooked into our API, and they're able to get real-time data for all of your trips on the road, so that you can, prove to them that you actually perform that trip, which helps you get paid faster, theoretically. So we're pretty excited about this, and it's completely free for our clients to use, because we know we can't build everything, but we want you to build what you need built.
Can you kind of explain your pricing model and any associated fees or costs that should arise?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we're trying to be as simple as possible. So if you want to sign up for MediRoutes today, it's $250 to activate your account. That gives you access to trainers. It also gives you access to our MediRoutes Academy, which I didn't even go over, which I can. And that's kind of like a gamified version of self-onboarding that you can use in conjunction with your trainer that you have access to as well. So you get a month of training with that sign-up fee, and then it's completely month-to-month, so you can cancel anytime. And then we charge you for every managed trip that you perform or complete within MediRoutes. So what does that mean? It's 40 cents per trip. And so, we're looking at industry data on average. The average NEMT trip is bringing about $45, maybe $50 of revenue. So we like to say that we're less than 1% of your cost, but you're getting all this functionality for that small nominal fee. And then we grow really nicely with you. So if you're only doing, a few hundred trips to start out per month, then your bill will be as low as $100. If you're doing, tens of thousands of trips, your bill will grow with you. But, once again, it's probably going to be something like 1%, perhaps in lower income markets, it might be 2% of the average trip price, where they're not, some states don't provide as nice of a benefit. But so in a nutshell, $250 to sign up. There's $100 monthly minimum, so everybody's paying at least $100. And then if you exceed, what would that be, 250 trips, then you're going to pay 40 cents for your 250 first trip, and so on and so forth. The only thing that we charge extra for, we don't charge extra for notifications. We don't charge extra for inspections. We don't charge extra for timekeeping. We don't charge extra for the API. We do charge for notifications because we have to pay the carriers. We have to pay T-Mobile, we have to pay Verizon, and all those people to send text messages and make robocalls. So we do charge for that, and that starts typically around 5 cents a message, and it can go up from there if you want to white label it, put your logo on it, send the hyperlink, right? It can go up from there. So hopefully that's helpful pricing info.
Yeah, I think that that's some great information. And, I know earlier, a couple of people were chiming in just saying that they're starting out small, and I think that this is great that the sign up fee is, only $250, and then you guys are charging the 40 cents per trip, because it does allow small businesses to eventually scale to be much bigger. So I can definitely see how you guys would be growing with the transportation company. Mm-hmm. So I think that that's great. Also, you did mention the university that you guys have. I know NEMT business owners, they come in all ages. And so there are a lot of people that may not be, so advanced when it comes to computers, software, and things like that. So the fact that you guys are offering 1 month training, I think is great. But also, can you elaborate, like, let's just say, for instance, you provided the training, we're up and running, we got things going, but we find a glitch or there's something wrong and we need to contact someone. Do you guys offer 24/7 support?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we have support available 24/7. To be honest, the people that you really want to talk to are going to be awake between 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. on the East Coast, and the same thing on the West Coast. So that's when those people will be available for, if you want to do a training session, if you want to enter a bug report, anything like that. This documentation that you'll see here is available 24 hours a day. And then if there's ever an emergency, we have all types of things in place to, get the right people on the phone to address the emergency. Fortunately, those over the last 5 years have happened very infrequently, but so yes, we do have support available at all times but typically during business hours is when you'll be able to talk with somebody, share a screen, and there's no charge for that as well. It's just included. And so I could kind of click through some of this. So just so you can see the ease of it, this is our, web documentation. And so if you wanted to see something like, we talked about that Where's My Ride tool, right? The passenger facing tool. So you can click in here and it's going to tell you all about it. Here's how you find your passenger, select the trip that they're on. Okay, it looks like the driver's out in the middle of a mountain and they're going to pick them up at 9:30 a.m. and drop them off at 9:45. You can share that hyperlink, right? And this is what the passenger sees. Immediately they're asked, are you attending the trip? Yes or no. Confirm or request to cancel. And then once they confirm it, they're going to see a picture like this showing the driver out on the road. And they don't even have to download an app. But this gives you an idea of what our documentation looks like. And so this is pretty typical for any of our features. We're going to go through each step, every little detail, and show you how to use it. So we think there's some pretty good self-guided documentation, and we're just finally rolling out chat on our website. So we're a little behind on that, but that allows you to chat with both real humans, and also it will suggest documentation that might be helpful for you. Same thing with mobile documentation. We try to make it really easy for the drivers, right? Log in, right? There's screen grabs with little videos for each of these that show you how to work through it. Viewing the schedule, right? So all this is available both to your dispatchers, your trainers, and your drivers. And then that academy that we talked about, which is kind of, you can work with a dedicated trainer, but we also offer this academy, which has been really great for people. So it kind of breaks the app down into these basic sections. And then we kind of have gamified it like a video game, right? So you go through and you say, great, I want to begin training. And it'll take you right into the section that you were last on. It'll show you your progress. You can watch videos, and it's going to step you through each of the functionality pieces. At the end of each section, you can mark them complete, right, and move on to the next section. And these will unlock as you go through them. So yeah, we've been able to get, I think a few hundred clients live this year. Some of them using this documentation, and most of them working directly with our trainers and support staff.
All right, and then lastly, I do see a question about routing optimization. Is that something that you guys offer?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's kind of the whole kit and caboodle. So Steve Smith, when he started the company, the thing that I think really makes us stand out, the three things, is our open API. So every broker can work with our data, and you can work with your own data as you wish. The rock solid mobile app that we have, literally gone through stomach ulcers to get to, and then finally, Steve wrote a scheduling algorithm that is pretty one of a kind. I've been working in IT for a long time, and it's not every day that you meet somebody that can write a scheduling algorithm that can handle, a theoretically unsolvable problem, which is that you've got all these pickups and drop-offs going on, all these vehicles, and you're trying to optimize your routes, and you're trying to minimize your miles driven, and you're trying to make sure you earn the most revenue with the least cost, right? So that's the whole point of that scheduling algorithm, is to build an optimized route automatically for you. And then what's nice about it is you can run it in batch across all 100 trips for tomorrow, or 1,000 trips if you are doing that many. But you can also, if a new trip comes in, let's say a will call gets set, right? And they say, hey, I'm ready to be picked up. Can you pick me up? You can click a little button next to that trip, and it'll run the scheduling algorithm across, let's say you had 25 vans on the road, and it'll find the best van for that trip. And it'll stack rank all of the possible vans, saying, this is your best option. If you schedule it to this other van, you're going to add an extra 10 miles, and somebody might be running late. If you schedule it to the third van, 2 people are going to run late, and you're also going to have an onboard time violation. So yes, absolutely. Route optimization is sort of at the center of the tool, and something we would love to show in more detail on a one-on-one demo with anybody that would like to see it.
Okay, wonderful. And if you guys want to schedule a one-on-one demo with MediRoutes, we did plug the link in the chat, so you guys can definitely go ahead and utilize that link to schedule your one-on-one demo. Also, I see another question about, are we able to, are transportation providers able to utilize the platform without, all the tech and stuff like that? I'm going to tell you, we have demoed a lot of scheduling platforms. We have utilized a lot of, well, I'm not going to say a lot, but a couple scheduling platforms, and they're really, really user-friendly. MediRoutes seems to be another one that's really user-friendly. And the fact that they also will provide you with guidance and support will make your transition smooth, right? So thank you so much for sharing this information with us, David. I do want to point out, though, David, because I had a conversation with Monica, and I just thought it was very, very impressive that in our initial conversation with you guys, we had so many of your team members on the call. And as a transportation business owner, I think that it was very impressive because it showed us that your team was showing up, and they were ready and eager to educate NEMT providers. So I did want to share that with our audience, because when we reached out to MediRoutes, they were like, you know what, we're showing up, we're going to be on the Zoom call, and let's see how we can work together to educate your audience. So I do want to thank you guys for that, and it just completely shows that MediRoutes, you guys are a team. Thank you so much to Melinda for making this possible. I greatly appreciate her. But you guys, like I said, if you're interested in working with MediRoutes, doing a one-on-one, scheduling a one-on-one demo, utilize the link. Now, if you are new to the NEMT industry, you're looking to get into the industry, Monica just dropped our 10-week course that we are offering, right? So our next 10-week course will be held on July 10th. That class will be starting at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's 8:30 Eastern. Actually, I see a couple of our students here joining us today, which I think is great. Thank you guys so much for showing up for us and being in attendance. Also, if you are a new business owner, that the fact that you are here and you are trying to gather the information so that you can incorporate scheduling into your business when you start, that speaks value. There are so many people that want to get into the industry but are not doing the research, and it is important to do the research when you're entering this industry. It's not an easy industry, right? I do want to stress that to you guys. You do have to you have to put in the work. And, you know, the fact that you're here today and joining us for this webinar speaks volume. So Monica and myself will continue to provide you guys with the knowledge and education that we have through our YouTube channel. But if you want to take it a step further and you know that you are ready to start your NEMT business, I would highly suggest that you go ahead and register for our Start Your NEMT Business in 10 weeks. All right. If you guys need to contact us for any reason, you can feel free to send us an email. Monica is going to go ahead and put our email address in the chat. And David, did you want to leave our audience off with anything?
Well, more than anything, I just want to say thank you to Jasmine, Monica from MJ, and also thank you all for attending. This has been a lot of fun to talk about, and yeah, we're excited to see if we can help you all out. And otherwise, we're just excited to see the NEMT industry growing and kind of getting their thought leaders together. And so Monica and Jasmine being two of those, absolutely. So hope you all have a great Friday, and thanks again for attending.
Thank you so much, David, and thank you guys for attending.